complicated this situation, and as of today, Drake and Cole do not appear to be on the best of terms.
Right now, it does seem like there could be some tension.
It's pretty crazy because while I was researching this video, Cole dropped a new track reflecting on his thoughts about the beef and ensured to let the whole world know that he still supports Drake.
Start another war, hey Drake, you'll always be my. I ain't ashamed to say you did a lot for me, my.
This track was not received very well, but I do feel like this video will shed some light on why J. Cole made the choice that he did and why it made a lot of sense for him.
And by the way, this is a one-of-a-kind piece, meaning no one's ever covered this before on YouTube or anywhere else. And this is probably my favorite project that I've ever done. And shout out to my niece Halen.
Although both of these MCs grew up in very different areas with different backgrounds, Drake and J. Cole traveled a very similar path musically.
In 2007, they both dropped mixtapes.
My money good, I ain't never had to flip a key. A lot of ice, a lot of cream, like Dickie D. Far from a slouch, I ain't gon' poly with y'all, probably hit you. My hand game like Bobby Fischer.
Now, Drake was already a public figure due to his role on Degrassi, so his mixtape gained way more attention, especially with features like Trey Songz.
If you looking for the good, and we got him in the trap like.
In contrast, J. Cole's mixtape, he recorded that while in university, and it went largely unnoticed at the time.
In 2007, yes, Drake had a little buzz, but he was far from a superstar.
In 2008, both of these young MCs put their heads down to work on their upcoming mixtapes. A lot was on the line as they were both looking to prove themselves in the game. Drake was teasing So Far Gone and started working on music with Wayne.
At this point, he wasn't signed to Wayne yet, but it was looking more and more like he was headed in that direction.
On the other side, J. Cole also lived in the studio as he was working on his tape, The Warm Up, and at the time he was performing at very small venues in New York. And it was at this point where J. Cole and Drake met for the very first time at a skating rink through Chase and Cash. I spoke with Chase myself, and I was able to confirm that the meeting did take place around this time.
I introduced J. Cole and Drake at a skating rink.
Really?
Facts. I knew Cole used to skate because Cole told me one time when we talked that he used to work at a skating rink. And I invited Cole to come through. Drake just happened to randomly hit me like, yo, I'm in LA, bro. What you doing? I was like, I'm at the skating rink. There's mad girls up here. Come through. And he came, and me and Cole was out there skating. And I introduced him. And
so this really seems like it was a quick, nice to meet ya, maybe exchange phone numbers, and that was pretty much it. And speaking of quick, let me tell you about today's sponsor, Cook Unity. Cook Unity is the first chef-to-consumer platform delivering freshly prepared, pre-selected meals right to your door weekly. And there's a few subscription plans for you to pick.
However, 2009 would be the year that changed both of their lives forever as they both signed major record deals.
This was back when getting a record deal meant way more than it means today.
Drake had a pretty big head start as he dropped So Far Gone at the beginning of the year, and with that, he absolutely exploded. This was not just any other mixtape, as he approached it in a way that was far more in line with a full-on studio album.
Burn bread every day, boy, no toaster. G and Tans got a cig, but I'm no smoker.
I might even do a video on this at some point. Like, Drake could always write. And even back then, there was a rumor going around that he was writing for Wayne.
He said, how did it feel to work with Wayne?
Yep.
And do you write for him? Because that's what people say.
Well, no. First of all, I definitely don't write for Wayne. I'll write with Wayne if we're doing a song together, just as far as contributing ideas, to each other. But Wayne.
So basically, they throw ideas back and forth.
Wayne is a genius. I mean,
the buzz that Drake had was being compared to 50 Cent's buzz. That's how special it was.
I mean, every label must be fighting for this right now, right?
Drizzy, Mr. So Far Gone, taking over New York City.
Yeah.
You're projected that whenever you sign with whoever you sign, you might break the Thriller record, yo. How does...
This mixtape from Drake was a game changer at the time, as it forced upcoming artists to reapproach how they looked at mixtapes in terms of the music's quality.
Drake's So Far Gone mixtape had the greatest impact of any street CD in 2009.
So Far Gone was truly a smash, and it caused a serious bidding war for Drake, where pretty much every record label wanted a piece of this kid.
And it was much later where Drake mentioned this on a track.
Oh, 09, they was bidding on me, but I'm young money, got it written on me.
And that is exactly what
That's
Drake
what y'all
would
keep telling me
do,
to
as on
react to
June
is
29th, 2009, he put pen to paper and officially joins the team at Young Money.
And already at this point, the kid was a phenomenon.
And the man next to me, 2 Grammy Awards, 2 Billboard Top 10s, Juno Awards, collaborated with everybody, and that was all before the first album.
However, on the other side, J. Cole, the hungry North Carolina native, inked a deal with Rock Nation, becoming Jay-Z's first signed artist.
The difference was Cole had a very small buzz, and he did it all without this big tape.
You're the first artist ever to be signed to Jay-Z's record label, and how did that come about?
Mark Pitts, who's my manager, played him the song I got called Lights Please. He heard it, he loved it, and he wanted to set up the meeting, so we met, I played him more songs, and the rest was history.
However, the success of Drake So Far Gone threw a wrench into the operation for Cole's upcoming tape, as he was forced to approach his next project a lot differently than he had planned.
The one was going to be all freestyle, but what happened was the game changed the minute Drake dropped So Far Gone. Not only am I going to put these on there, but I'm going to put all of these on there because...
Probably you have to stack the deck.
Yeah, because I have to show them I got to come and play my best hand too, because he clearly came with his, you know what I mean?
And after some major tweaks, Cole dropped the warm-up on June 15, 2009.
So I tell them birds no nest. Laying in my bed, hope to lay egg. No, you never hatch mine, baby, you don't match mine.
And I love this one because Cole goes in on this exact same beat 10 years later, and the progression is crazy.
No stress, my only guess is that less is more. More or less 100 G's in my dresser drawer. I'm blessed, hope I don't arrest me for.
So it was at this point where we had two very promising young rappers enter the game and sign major deals at the same time. Drake was a reflection of Lil Wayne and Young Money, while Cole was a protege for Jay-Z. With 2 new mixtapes under their belts, fans and the media began to compare J. Cole and Drake.
They say that you could be the new Drake, which to us means...
When I heard the first Drake song, I forget which one was the first one that I heard. Yeah. I straight thought it was you.
Jim Jones could have signed J. Cole, but he reminded him too much of Drake, so he passed.
He didn't have a team, it was just J. Cole rapping.
I bet you that pissed him off he didn't sign J. Cole, because he felt like he was too much of Drake.
Little light-skinned kid coming to the studio every day rapping like Drake. And at that point, it was Drake. I didn't know what to do with no Drake. Drake was just like a phenomenon at that point. And you can't have 2 of them right now.
So when Cole finally did get signed, he walked into a situation where this new kid Drake was already churning out hit after hit, and it put him in a pretty weird situation and added another layer of pressure.
Even when he finally got a feature with the guy that signed him, Jay-Z claims Drake's up next.
Do the move, bitches. After he move, bitches, Drake's up next. See what he do with it. So, clap for him. Then applaud Hov, he gave him the platform.
And I found this really old clip of Cole buying that Blueprint 3 album the day that it came out.
My first official album, dog. My first credit. My first feature on a major album. The beginning.
And the media would continue to pour it on, consistently testing and baiting J. Cole to get his thoughts on Drake.
Drake is not a bad dude. To me, he's overrated. I'm, straight up. Like, he's dope. He's talented as hell. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Taking nothing away. But he's just, like, mad overrated.
Well, I don't, first of all, I can't, I can't.
I know you ain't co-sign.
I can't co-sign none of that.
And you got to understand, at this point, they're both coming into the game, right? Like,
they was trying to get them to battle.
They probably don't want to get compared, and they probably don't want to talk about each other.
At this point in the game, the reality of the situation was that So Far Gone was incredibly dominant, and that Drake was a far bigger draw than J. Cole.
I remember the first time I seen, not the first time I seen Drake, but I seen Drake at a show. It was a Jay-Z show, and he came out. And then, mind you, he's like on fire, because So Far Gone was out. When I met him, he had the rollie. Oh, God, rollie so cold. Like, gold rollie's so crazy.
However, there's something to be said about the fact that although these guys were not friends at this point, these 2 young men were both experiencing all the same things for the very first time in their lives.
This was the year where they both hit the stage for the very first time with full-on superstars.
J. Cole would get a taste of what everything looked like when he started to hit the stage with Jay-Z.
That clip was giving me
Wait, so how long was J. Cole signed to Jay-Z and who he with now?
mad goosebumps.
And while Cole did all that, Drake was experiencing what it was like to tour with Young Money.
Ladies and gentlemen, Drizzy J.
So they're both living this new lifestyle where their dreams are unfolding right in front of their eyes.
However, 2010 would be the biggest test for Drake and J. Cole's future relationship as things started off rough. In an interview with Complex, Drake said the following: "I got a great relationship with Jay, and Jay's got Wale and J. Cole, who's one of my favorite dudes rapping right now. I've happened to have more success. I made the most money. I have #1 records. Those guys don't have that shit. When it comes to my relationship with the new dudes, I'm excited for them. I get to sit back in a cool position."
At the time, Drake was also getting questioned about J. Cole. Like, he's hearing about this guy a lot, and he's probably getting annoyed by it.
But Drake didn't stop there, as in the same interview, he continued on to say, "When J. Cole gets super right, I think he's gonna have a place as a Nas-type character who really stands for hip-hop, but still makes ill records that everyone messes with."
And Cole quickly responded to this, and it's pretty clear that he didn't like what Drake said.
You can't call things like that early. You can't say I'm Nas because look, Nas was in the game for 16 years. What if I'm not here next year? What if you're not here next year? I don't think you could say stuff like that this early, but I understand what people are saying. At his status right now, he's the most talked about in the game. The Nas comparison is like, he gets a little bit beyond the surface, but I feel like when it comes to those comparisons, it's way too early. And you never know. 10 years from now, I could be Jay.
Which at the time, Cole was very recently signed by Jay-Z.
J. Cole was already being doubted by not only the public, but by himself, as he questioned if he could really make commercially successful records. Everyone was wondering if this new kid could really make a hit. And when Drake compared him to Nas, which for the record there's nothing wrong with, Cole likely took this as he couldn't live up to Jay-Z's legacy or his expectations.
And at this point, Drake was already a superstar. He already had a bunch of hits. And Drake would mention years later that he lost that deal with Sprite because of Wayne.
Lost my Sprite deal cause Wayne kept pouring fire.
However, it was that year where Cole picked up a fantastic accolade, making the 2010 XXL freshman list.
Hey, don't you see me, man? Making my wishes come true with no genie, man.
First off, the cover's crazy, but this was back when this magazine, like this cover used to mean a lot back then, right? Like this was a huge deal. Rest in peace to Nip.
And as iconic as this cover was, it's actually missing two superstars that turned it down, which was Drake and Nicki Minaj, as they both felt slighted that they didn't make it the year before.
Technically, we were freshmen when they didn't put us on.
Look, if this thing already wasn't fucking stacked, and I'd hate to have to take two people off this, but if Drake and Nicki was on this cover will be insane.
And it was just 2 weeks after Cole made the list where Drake would announce on a Ustream that J. Cole was now his new favorite rapper.
I think people twist J. Cole's words around a lot, play us against each other, but that's one of my favorite rappers out right now. I'm a big J. Cole fan.
And it was at this point where Cole acknowledges that Drake was on fire, but claims he's coming into this thing competitively.
I'm just a natural competitor. So when it comes to anybody, whether it's Drake or any other artist, you always worry about yourself first, but you always study what the rest of the game is doing. So if you see something that he's killing the game incredibly, like doing something that hasn't been done in a long time.
However, just 2 weeks after that interview, Cole would shake the tree when he dropped his first big single for his upcoming project, where many speculated that he took shots at Drake.
A couple of y'all ain't took a field trip to the hood. Hey, me, I'm Fresh Prince, I'm Will Smith to the hood, baby.
So Cole starts off claiming that a lot of these dudes didn't even take a field trip to the hood, possibly alluding to Drake's middle-class upbringing. He then refers to himself as Fresh Prince, which was someone that Drake was constantly compared to at that time.
Some people, they're comparing you to like the Fresh Prince, Will Smith. Who do you compare yourself to?
How does he feel about being called the new Fresh Prince?
Oh, hell no.
I actually got a copy of Drake's first big magazine cover back in 2008, and in this article, they're saying the exact same shit. They're calling him like the new Fresh Prince, right? And just for context, the iPhone 3 was a smash hit at the time.
Repurchased trap music 4 times since then. Seamless transition, I'm the new Fresh Prince.
But Cole did not stop there.
Ain't saying names, but we not the same. All that money in the fame don't change the fact that you lame.
At the time, there was only one man that Cole was being compared to, and that was Drake. And it's here where Cole potentially responds to Drake's claims in that Vibe magazine, where he felt the need to point out that he was far more successful and that he had hit records that J. Cole didn't have.
Look, I was on the blogs back then. I could tell you firsthand, a lot of people thought that these were shots at Drake.
And the buzz and the rumors is all like, there's something up between Drake and Cole. There might be some type of tension, or they're swiping each other's style. And it seems like Drake gets the question a lot, but nobody gets to hear Cole's side of the story. So I want you to let everybody know where you're coming from as far as that issue goes.
Nah, man, that's actually not true. I get the question all the time. Like, everybody always asks that question, but it's gonna be since it's the radio, this is gonna be the one of my few times. I got like 2 more times to answer this question because it's getting crazy. Like, there's no problem. Like, people only knew that
So Cole shuts this thing down pretty quick, but it was just 2 weeks later where people felt like Drake responded.
You know how the story go. You done shot my style, you done stole my flow, you done seen me out, you can snow hello, and you wonder why, man, you know.
I actually found some really old comments from when this track came out, but speculation immediately kicked in. People thought that these were shots at Cole.
Tell me J. Cole didn't wear the same jacket Drake wore on Best I Ever Had on Who Dat. The same jacket, the same hand moves, that's all Drizzy. Cole stayed jocking Drizzy style. Black t-shirt, black pants and shit at all his shows.
And then one guy said this:
if there's any tension that blows up between these two rappers, it will be the result of media, blogs, cyber geeks, and overly loyal dick rodders fueling conflict. Ain't no style jacking going on. You dudes are being too analytical and thinking you catch everything.
You dudes.
Okay, so this line got it has 6 different meanings then. What's after a quintuple entendre? What do you even call that? I almost took it personal, but the comment is 14 years old.
J. Cole was then asked in an interview about his relationship with Drake, and he said the following: right now is mutual respect. Like, I see what you're doing, you're killing the game, I'm a fan, or whatever the case is, but we're both young, and even though he's more established and has hits, he still doesn't have an album out. He still has to prep for that. So we're not in a position to be best friends. We can save that for when we're both laid up chilling, but right now we both have work to do.
And it's that last statement right there that I'm going to bring up later in this video because I think it is important.
And at this point, it was finally Drake's moment where he dropped his debut album, Thank Me Later.
Bottles on me, long as someone drink it. Someone tell Malaya I'm on fire, she should work tonight.
The album debuted at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 200 and sold 447,000 copies in its first week, catapulting Drake's career farther than ever.
The dude was a first-round pick that was far from a bust. He exceeded expectations.
And with the success of Drake's new album, everyone was looking at Jay-Z's first signee to see if he could follow suit.
Now that his album's out, do you kind of feel the pressure, like, for your albums? What people are doing at the
because they stopped, like, Drake's dropped his album now, so now it's you. Like, everyone's looking at you.
Somebody said that, and I didn't feel it until somebody said it.
Cole would then drop his official music video for Who Dat, and even when fans felt he took shots at Drake on that track, the team at OVO still promoted Cole's new video on their blog site. And here's a comment from that post that I thought was dope. No sarcasm, big ups for OVO showing love to a most likely to be rival. It's a great thing to see more support than competition.
And this is around the time where they start seeing each other at a lot of the same places.
And although there were never any photos of them together, they were being scheduled to perform at a lot of the same shows and festivals.
And it's entirely possible that they were already hanging out at this time.
However, the media was still up to their old tricks, constantly drawing comparisons and bringing each other up.
Being light-skinned, do you think light-skinned is back now? Because, you know, Drake, everybody's selling records.
We got the homie J. Cole in the building, man. First off,
do you think light-skinned is back now?
Drizzy Drake, y'all bringing light-skinned brothers back, man.
But they need a little flaw. They need you to beef for at least one person.
Yeah,
like,
that they looking for.
But now is where they really start to make it known that they do not have any issues with each other.
Jay said he is passing the crown.
He did?
Yes, he said he was passing the crown to you and J. Cole.
Shout out to J. Cole too,
Yes,
man. What a
yes,
great talent.
With all that said, the first confirmed instance of these two hanging out was when they were set to perform at the Bumbershoot Music Festival in Seattle. While there aren't any photos of them together, I did find this old tweet from Macklemore where he mentioned the following. Getting breakfast with the homies Drake and J. Cole at McDonald's by Northgate. This fool Drake getting his McFlurry on already.
This is gospel, I spit it like I get it from the Bible. For your survival, I got $1 and a dream. Seattle, y'all make some noise if y'all out there.
Shortly after, J. Cole would get interviewed by Vibe and he brought up the idea of battling Drake. I feel like that's why people push the J. Cole Drake thing so much, because I think we're probably the first two artists that fans are super excited about, the two that they would like to see go at it. I don't blame them, but it's just a sign of the times. Rap goes in cycles. I'm not promoting that, but I'm a competitive person in general, so I'm a fan of people throwing jabs and shots. That motivates me.
With all that said, the biggest moment for Drake and J. Cole was about to happen.
Oh, that's dope.
September 28th, 2010 would change the course of two of hip-hop's most promising careers, as Radio City Hall was bumping when Drake brought J. Cole out on the main stage as a special guest.
I was able to find an article from when all this happened, like people went nuts.
For over a year, the internet had been flooded with rumors and hearsay pitting these two MCs against each other. It was mesmerizing to see Drake and Cole say F all that and effortlessly coexist, join forces, and electrify the crowd. If these two dudes didn't like each other, it was hard to tell.
And this right here was the tipping point where these two young men picked a path that was very different from what we've seen in the past.
The chances of J. Cole and Drake beefing was far greater than them ever becoming friends. They were both very young, very hungry, and they both had a lot to prove. The media and fans were constantly baiting a war, and who knows, maybe even some of the people within their record labels also thought a beef would be a good look out the gate.
I mean, as I said already, these guys were going through all the same things. Like, they had a lot to talk about. They had a lot in common. So when they met, they clicked and they said, fuck all that.
After the show that night, we would see what I believe to be the first documented photo of Drake and J. Cole together. And even after this moment on stage, the media continued to ask about a potential beef.
Is there or is there not any beef between you and Drake? Not true. So you and Drake,
Man, they was trying to get that shit going.
Work with him? Absolutely, yeah. Oh,
So for some people, that one show wasn't enough, but Drake was about to make a huge announcement.
On November 2nd, 2010, Drake announced a European tour where he decided to bring along none other than J. Cole.
We were supposed to go to Europe in December, but the Drake shit came up with such a blessing. That's gonna be so crazy.
And the timing couldn't have been better because 3 days later, Cole dropped his banger, Friday Night Lights.
Your names ain't even mentioned. I got dreams bigger than your hotel.
With this tape, Cole more than proved that he deserved a spot on that freshman cover, and I'm sure Jay-Z was becoming very happy with the performance of his new rookie. However, the biggest look that Cole would get and the biggest hit from that tape was from a Drake feature.
Fly with you are powerful, you do something to me.
Night is still young, drink that dinner wine slow.
In the Morning was a forgotten J. Cole song originally recorded back in 2007 before he ever got a deal. This was a track that was featured on a rare tape called The Warm-Up of the Warm-Up.
And Cole would later explain why he made the choice to redo this track.
That song was made before I even got a record deal. 2 years later, I got a message from Drake like, yo man, I heard that In the Morning, that shit's crazy. And I told him I was thinking about redoing it, and he said, if you ever redo it, save me a spot.
So at the time, Drake is listening to these very old, fairly rare J. Cole tracks.
And just like that, the moment that J. Cole got that message from Drake, he was literally in the studio the very next day and re-recorded the record to get it back to Drake.
And that's because Cole Cole knows what this is. He knows exactly what this is. A Drake feature, even back then, could be life-changing.
You know what I mean? Everybody wanted to say at the time J. Cole and Drake together. Yeah. Like, everybody was big impact. Yeah, it was a big impact. You know what I'm saying? Even, you know what I mean, J. Cole himself was just like, yo, you know what I mean, this is it.
With In the Morning, J. Cole was now really getting some radio spins. The record was hot. And while he was in Toronto, he brought out the hometown hero to perform it for the very first time together. And if that Toronto show wasn't enough, J. Cole brought out Drake again 3 days later in New York.
It's very rare for you to have the opportunity to come up in the game and have somebody else that you admire and respect so much. This is my motherfucking brother. Yo, make some noise for J. Cole.
J. Cole and Drake were now shifting the narrative, and as much as people wanted to see these two guys spar, the fans seemed even happier when they united.
How did you make the internet's wet dream come true?
Because I know he mentioned something about J. Cole, like apologizing to Kendrick.
Become besties with J. Cole. Like, how did this happen, man? You know, the internet is they're just overjoyed. They can't even come up with negative comments about it because they're just so damn happy that you guys are cool.
The more you see somebody, you get to realize, like, different things about them. Like, you know, I mean, like, Cole is such a great guy, but then you meet guys like Ibrahim, you meet his boys like Omen and the other guys that are around him, and you realize, like, okay, not only is this guy a solid dude, but he's got great people around him. You know, the people in our team start vibing, and it just becomes like, you know, if you become like happy to see somebody. Like, when I know Cole's gonna be at an event, I'm like, my boy's gonna be here, we could joke and kick it.
Then it was just 1 week later where the exact same guy, Elliott Wilson, sat down and interviewed J. Cole. Elliott Wilson's catalog is fucking stacked. Like, it really is.
You came on stage at his Radio City set. You recently agreed to do some European tour dates together. But the public seems hell-bent on making you and Drake rivals. Does that affect your personal relationship with him? I don't think it affects it. I'm aware of it. I think he's aware of it too, but it's not something that's really spoken about. Moments like Radio City crush all the talk of any kind of beef.
And then Elliott brought something up that I've never heard anywhere else.
Drake sent me a message, said you guys were making a song together called The Luckiest People. Can you confirm? Hell yeah, that shit's dope. I'm recording my verse. Drake is one of the people I really wanted to work with as soon as I got myself to the place where I needed to be. He got himself there. That's the type of person I want to work with. I want to feel like I earned it.
This Luckiest People track is a track that we never got. This is the first I ever heard of it.
2011 was an even bigger year for J. Cole and Drake, and they kicked it off with the European tour.
I was dreaming about it the other day, 13.
It was here that their dreams truly came to life. They saw fans overseas, far from North America, singing their songs word for word. As two young guys exploring Europe for the first time, they were having the time of their lives, and this is where a genuine friendship starts to form.
And again, these are all things that they're both experiencing for the very first time.
This tour was a massive success, and while in Paris, they decided to film the music video for In the Morning.
And when you think you like it, I promise you gon' love it, yeah.
The conversation had now shifted from these guys need to beef to these guys are the new wave.
J. Cole and Drake are kind of like, the newest artists that are like, got praised and are just on their way up to the top, man.
Drake would then surprise the people of Toronto by bringing out J. Cole at his 2011 OVO Fest.
Rick Ross.
And of course, Drake had some very kind words for J. Cole.
I can't help but express my love and respect for you because every time we get on stage together, I feel like we give people an opportunity to look at you future legends.
These OVO festivals have always been a huge deal for Drake. It's like a huge thing for Toronto. And Cole shows up to a lot of them.
And on September 27th, J. Cole would drop his long-awaited debut album, Cole World, The Sideline Story.
smoking weed on the beach is my mind working like Play-Doh. I'm here for one night, have fun, where you go?
If you listen to this project today, it's clear to see Cole's growth as not just an MC, but as a person. Seeing the marketing roll out with J. Cole's face plastered on buses and vehicles with the words, "Make way for the chosen one," seems very far from who Cole is today.
Almost seems like Jay-Z might have had a hand in this.
On the night the album dropped, Drake was the first person to announce to all of his followers that his brother J. Cole had just dropped a...
That's dope. He wasn't gatekeeping. He like, man, he just dropped the album, man, go get it.
New project, and Cole posted a tweet back saying, "Drake, my dog, much love. Cole World, take care."
And one of the tracks that made it on the album was In the Morning.
I do a show anywhere in the United States, and as soon as In the Morning comes on, it gets the biggest reaction. The label and my management were like, "You're crazy if you don't put that record on the album. It's got more life to it. You have an entire audience that tells you that is the song that moves them. So why not give it to the rest of the world?"
And this was an old track that Cole had forgot about. Like, Drake recognized that this was a hit, and he gave him a big record.
And it would be just over a month later where Drake proved to the world that there would be no sophomore slump in his storyline as he dropped what I consider to be his classic album, Take Care.
The backpackers are back on the bandwagon like
dope.
this was my comeback season back in the day.
And the footage of Chantel Kraviasik doing the vocals for this track, also amazing.
I know you don't love me, baby. That's right.
It starts, it goes, how I'm feeling that.
I actually pulled that footage from when Drake dropped the 100 gigs, and I'm not sure if people realize the significance of what he gave us with that content. I can make an entire video breaking down every single moment, explaining why it's iconic and what it all means. And if that's something you guys would be interested in, just let me know in the comments.
The footage he put out is timeless. I just think the beef overshadowed it, and I don't think it got enough attention.
When it came to Take Care, Cole made sure to return the favor, posting a tweet the morning before the album came out saying, "Cheers to my brother Drake and that OVO. Take Care on pre-order. Underground Kings."
This was full-on support both ways.
To close out the year, they performed at Cali Christmas and again at Wild Jam, so Drake and J. Cole did 18 shows together in 2011, and that's not including special guest appearances.
And in 2012, they only become closer.
They both attended the First Down Friday show in Indianapolis, and a month later, Drake would announce that J. Cole will be joining him for a 27-show American-wide tour, Club Paradise.
Drake Club Paradise Tour with very special guests J. Cole, Waka Flocka Flame, Meek Mill, 2 Chainz, and French Montana.
I don't know if people realize this or want to accept it, but this Club Paradise Tour will go down as one of the most impactful hip-hop tours of all time. A lot of careers were helped.
And at this point, we start to see pictures of Drake and J. Cole hanging out at various nightclubs across America, including this one night in Atlanta at the Tongue and Groove, where a fan posted, "Fuck yeah, J. Cole and Drake just walked into Tongue and Groove. Night just got good, bottles everywhere."
Put yourself in their shoes. They're living it up, man. They're young, they're rich, they're doing what they love. Like, what more do you want?
In 2013, the trend only continued, where we see Cole at Drake's Grammy party. A week later, they're partying at Knox nightclub in Houston. The next day, they're front row at the NBA All-Star game. Later that night, they perform with Wayne at the after party.
And then Cole dropped Cole Summer, which had a shout out for Drake.
Throwing thousands in the strip club with Drizzy. Difference is I'm throwing 4, he throwing 50.
So Cole gives a clear shout out to Drake, and we've seen these guys clubbing at this point. When it comes to the strip club, Cole is likely referencing one of the many nights that they've had.
On that track, he actually mentioned,
I ain't gonna lie, that's where I'm trying to be, man, every night. You know what I'm saying? Not every night, but man, that's the place. That's Toys R Us.
And Drake twice.
A year later, Drake put his key in your ignition,
and on the day that the track dropped, Drake took to Twitter to say, "Cole Summer, that's my brother, man. Bars too real, too ill."
Then again with the 100 gigs, we got Drake driving around in Toronto, and he's listening to this new Cole track.
Scrambling now. 5 days to finish the album. Scrambling now.
And while the two MCs were definitely close, it never got in the way of remaining competitive when it came to music.
From knowing you and knowing Drake, I think people kind of underestimate the competitiveness, like individual competitiveness.
And again, we got Elliott Wilson. The dude's got a couple eras on lock. He definitely had his foot on the pulse with this shit.
And on June 17th, 2013, J. Cole would prove that he meant business when he dropped his sophomore album, Born Sinner.
No one sleeping in my brother room. Like, man, I might as well be sleeping in my mother room.
I always loved this track because even in high school, I had to share a room with my little brother. We had bunk beds.
And again, Drake shows love by promoting Cole's new project. Just got my pre-order J. Cole Born Sinner downloaded. Go get that.
And of course, Drake heard the album before it came out.
This was 2 months before his album came out. I played what I had of the album, and I played Drake my album, you know.
2 days after the album release, Cole was set to perform at Irving Plaza in New York, and he surprised everyone by bringing out Drake. Directly after the show, the two rappers were pictured partying at Club Kiss and Fly, but that's about the least interesting thing that happened that night. On the morning of June 21st, 2013, hip-hop bared witness to a wholehearted and special moment when the two young men headed to Best Buy with smiles from ear to ear as Drake purchased the entire stock of Born Sinner albums. When you think about the obstacles that they had to face when they first came in and where they stood in their careers in this moment, it's inspiring to see this childlike aura on their faces as they support one another. J. Cole and Drake were still lyrically competing, both driven to one day claim the crown, but they were showing that they could chase those ambitions while also lifting each other up.
Yeah, but they can't do that, bro. It's not hip-hop, man. That shit was soft. Like, give it up. Give it up. Like, if that bothered you at all, seek therapy.
And it was just 2 days after the Best Buy moment where Drake dropped a 4-pack that included his second collaboration with Cole, Jodeci Freestyle.
We moved to operation in Cali soon as the snow drop. All stop. Fuck your list, you lame niggas and doubters. I'm undoubtedly the honest.
2013 was an insane year for Drake.
And the day that
Y'all drop a link to that below because I know I'm going to fuck around and forget.
Jodeci dropped, Drake would post a tweet saying, J. Cole, my brother, thank you for the bars. To which Cole would also post, Drake, The Motion, crazy.
The Motion was one of the tracks that Drake dropped on that 4-pack.
While a lot of fans questioned who had the better verse, Cole would soon explain that this was a very hectic feature for him to record.
Oh, the Jodeci, yeah. The same day it came out, I did a verse. I had no business doing that verse. I didn't have time. Remember, that was the week of my promo, the week of my release. If you think about my schedule, the week my album was released, there's no time. But we made it happen. Like, sometimes the moment is so important, you got to make it happen. That was an important moment.
And as much as fans enjoyed the Jodeci track, not everyone was pleased with the subject matter, as J. Cole had an insulting line towards the special needs community.
This made headlines everywhere, far out of hip-hop, but they did apologize.
And it was on August 5th, 2013, where it was that time of the year, Drake was excited to bless the city of Toronto with OVO Fest, and once again, J. Cole shows up, and he did not disappoint.
Oh, so these niggas was grinding from the beginning.
And this was the point when Kendrick shook the game and dropped the control verse.
I got love for you all, but I'm trying to murder you niggas.
This verse was like a tidal wave across
the industry.
I need to
hear that.
OGs loved it, the people loved it, and regardless of what anyone else thought, Kendrick shined in this moment.
But Cole and Drake didn't let this bother them. In fact, it almost seemed like they became
link it below.
Closer.
And things would only continue to look up for Drake as he drops his second classic, and to me, this is his best album ever, Nothing Was the Same.
Off everything my pen wrote, we went from Bundy to Winslow. This for shorty up on Glen Grove who love when I catch my...
Yo, I got like 3 more songs because I know I didn't do the deluxe. I did the regular one. I think it's like 3 more. It was one with 2 Chainz. I'm gonna do a 3-in-1 with that, man, so I can knock that out.
Simple.
It's just such a solid project. And again, if you want the 100 gigs, let me know, because there's a whole bunch of footage of him making this album.
And again, Cole returns the favor and promotes the project for Drake on Twitter. Nothing Was the Same, in stores now, you know what to do. Drake, congrats, my dog.
This is like, 2012, 2013. When you outside and you hear who really running them clubs, which is that boy Drizzy Drake.
In 2014, these guys were far from where they were during those mixtape days. Drake wasn't the only superstar. Cole was now also solidified. Their shows were going crazy, their music was hot, and their bank accounts reflected every bit of that, as they both made Forbes 30 under 30. It was also at this point where Cole shifted from solely working on his own career to developing artists under his Dreamville label.
And this is just something else they have in common, right? They're both young with record labels, and they both have this passion for helping other artists grow.
Stamping likes my visa, chiefing off of these berries.
I saw 2 performances live from Boss. He's actually really dope.
And it was at this point where we would learn something really interesting about one of my favorite tracks from Born Sinner.
I mean the type of niggas that laugh at Hove money, billionaires with petroleum and coal money.
What we would learn is that Drake had that beat first, and then he gave it to Cole.
So anyways, I told him like,
oh damn,
dope. I was like, but Drake already did something to that one, so I just gotta make sure it's cool with him. I asked Drake about it, and he was like, man, just let him have it. So I always thought that was really dope, because a lot of rappers, even if they're not necessarily gonna use a beat, they will try to hold on to it forever and stop the producer's money. And Drake really was just like, nah, get your money, it's good.
This is really a small example of
He's trying to make sure everybody around him eating, man. I like the way he think. Yeah.
Drake pushing the culture forward. Drake would have smoked that beat, right? But Cole wanted it. His boy wanted it, so he gave it to him.
Next, J. Cole brings out Drake for another surprise, and I love the footage I'm about to show because Drake is asking Cole if he can do 0 to 100 for the people.
Whatever the fuck you want. Yeah, man. Let me set my shit, man.
And you could see the look on Cole's face. He knows Drake's going out to do 0 to 100. Like the building is about to shake.
However, Drake took it a step further that night, as this show was in LA, Kendrick's home turf, and he closed out his performance by claiming that him and J. Cole were the only 2 kings.
There's only 2 kings in this shit right now, and they standing on the stage. Y'all make some other.
And I really can't be sure how J. Cole felt about this comment. This may have made him uncomfortable, as this was a back-to-back show in LA, and it was only the next night where Kendrick was his guest. At this point, we all know, like, there was tension between Drake and Kendrick, but Cole, he's a neutral party, right? With all that in mind, J. Cole was about to make his 3rd appearance at OVO Fest, but this time, Drake introduces him with a really dope speech.
I'm getting calls from greats to come write, be on songs, and be parts of things I only dreamed of, you know?
Nigga said we the only 2 kings on stage in LA.
While I'm doing that, there's this other guy. He's buzzing. People are talking about him too. And instead of becoming enemies, we become 2 great brands and one of the strongest units in hip-hop.
So all the things I just showed you in the beginning of this video, Drake just kind of summarized all that in that speech. In 2015, much like the previous years, nothing had changed between them, as we still see them hitting the clubs. Here they are at the Attic in New York for an after party, and they're with each other again the following night. And now, in my opinion, this is when Cole drops his classic.
Times Square, kept the dimes there in the locker. Some Reggie Miller with more brown hairs than Chewbacca.
This album was a massive shift from Cole World and Born Sinner, as he didn't make this for the fans, he didn't make it to outsell anyone. J. Cole made this album for himself with no features. However, most importantly, Cole attempted to send an important message to his peers with respect to the crown.
While the people debate who's the king of this rap game, here comes little old Jermaine to snatch the crown from whoever y'all think has it.
Cole starts out the sequence positioning things as if he's snatching the crown.
But he's actually not snatching it for the reason that you might be thinking.
But rather than place it on his head, as soon as he grabs it, poof, with a flash and a bang, the crown disintegrates.
J. Cole comes to the realization that the crown and all it symbolizes is deeply tied to the ego. During this period, he witnessed the tension between 2 of his peers, Drake and Kendrick, as they aim for that #1 spot. It's for this reason where Cole ultimately decides to destroy the crown, symbolizing that it's become more destructive than empowering. In Cole's view, they're all kings in their own right, and the true focus should be on respecting each other's artistry rather than tearing each other down.
You can bicker amongst yourself and say
that's
it's
real.
not hip-hop or whatever, right? But I think we can all agree that this is a pretty good message.
However, J. Cole would also mention Drake and Kendrick again on the outro of the album, where he explains his logic of destroying the crown.
Man, shout out Drizzy Drake, Kendrick Lamar. I'm so happy to be peers with y'all niggas and consider y'all niggas friends.
So he clearly says that he sees these guys as his friends, right?
And I'm sorry I had to come snatch the crown right quick. We gotta show these niggas, man, it's love at the top. It ain't no more motherfucking crowns.
So even back then, it seems like Cole knew that there was tension.
He was trying to put that fire out. He seen that fire coming, man.
In between Drake and Kendrick, and it's very possible that he tried to fix it.
Niggas want beef,
Yeah.
niggas want drama. Fuck that, we coming together.
I don't think Cole ever wanted to see a Drake and Kendrick battle. I think even back then, he saw where it was going, and he perceived it as being toxic.
Only one fucking thing matters, and that's your happiness. Only way you gonna get to that happiness is through love.
And by the way, if you really do rock with me and what I do on this channel, share this video on Twitter and Instagram and Reddit and stuff. That really helps. I put a lot into every single project, and I would really appreciate it.
As we enter 2015, J. Cole has matured to the point where he recognizes that as artists, they all have unique skill sets, and he's come to terms with the fact that he can't compete with someone like Drake commercially.
I want to do this shit forever, God willing, but if not, I'm not gonna go out trying to compete with Drake every fucking album. I ain't gonna catch up to that nigga. That nigga's a fucking monster, you know what I mean? He's doing things that I can't and don't need to do. Why would I ever?
He's focusing his lane.
He's focused on his.
That's why he bowed out gracefully to that battle, because he like, man, I'm not about to be doing this back-to-back shit, man.
His lane. He's mastered it. Why would I ever try to dip into his lane?
Drake would then drop a complete surprise for the people with "If You're Reading This, It's Too Late."
I'll admit it.
That shit was hard.
Rolling switches, hitting switches.
And once again, J. Cole pulls up the OVO Fest, and this is his 4th time.
We love y'all, man. My name is J. Cole. We gonna pray for the best weather in the world for my brother tomorrow.
And it was only 3 weeks later where Drake would return the favor by pulling up the J. Cole's homecoming concert.
For all the times that you've come to Toronto and blessed my city, you know I had to come to Fayetteville and rock tonight.
Then within weeks, Drake dropped "What a Time to Be Alive" with Future.
I rock Kentucky blue on these hoes. After that, I'm getting chewed by these hoes.
J. Cole would then attend Farrakhan's Million Man March in Washington, and that exact same day, he flew all the way to Austin, Texas to be a surprise guest at Drake's show.
I don't know if my mother had 2 kids.
Them niggas was working.
But this my brother for real. Make some noise for J. Cole.
J. Cole would then drop his second Dreamville project.
Dreamville the 96 Bulls, taking all y'all power, breaking 48 laws, how about it?
That 48 Laws record by Omen is so fucking good, man. Like, I love that record.
Heading into 2016, a rumor started to circulate that Drake and J. Cole were planning a summer tour.
There's a rumor that I heard that there's going to be an announcement this week of a Drake and J. Cole summer tour.
But the tour never happened. I think Ebro was the only person that ever brought this up.
Drake then only continues to keep his foot on the gas, as on April 29th, he dropped his album Views.
Sometimes I'm so
indecisive.
You're a real ass woman and I like it.
I must have played this record 10,000 times. Like, this to me is one of Drake's best R&B records.
Drake would then sit down for an interview with Zane Lowe, and it's at this point where he addresses his industry relationships compared to his actual friendships.
Have you seen success change the framework of what a friend can mean to you? Have you seen that cliche of
not my real friends in my real life? And that's like kind of like, you have to be able to separate your real life and this. I'm very proud of my real life and the character judgment that I've used throughout the years that I've spent on this earth. Nobody really that I've ever considered a true friend has switched up. But these these fly-by-night people that you just come across. I mean, they're all not to be trusted. I don't trust none of them.
And this is a line of thinking that Drake had for a very long time that I think he got away from. You could find lines from way back on Comeback Season, even tracks like Club Paradise, where Drake has always talked about industry people, rappers, and how they're not to be trusted. I believe this concept has now finally sunk in for Drake. He's been stabbed in the back one too many times, and the things that he just said in this interview are finally going to be implemented into how he moves going forward. You can say whatever you want about Drake, but we have to at least acknowledge that the people around him, the people that are closest with him, the people that are on his team have been around since 2006 and even earlier, so that has to stand for something. Drake got a bunch of people around him that have been with him for over 20 years. He's got lines about Boy Wonder back in 2005.
Boy Wonder and Drake in his B5 dressing in black Phantom his hair soon as B-side I exit.
Drake then would share some really kind words for Cole when he brought him out for a show during his Summer 16 tour.
He's looking at one of the smartest, greatest, most legendary artists of our generation.
However, even after all those kind words, Cole was about to rock the boat as he dropped the track where many fans felt he took shots at Drake.
Maybe it's my fault for idolizing niggas based off the words they be rapping. When come to find out, these niggas don't even write they shit. Hear some new style bubbling up, then they bite this shit.
The first verse of Fall...
I don't know, man. I can't really say he taking shots at him because there's a lot of niggas who rap that wasn't writing their shit.
False Prophets was clearly directed at Kanye West, but due to the reference to rappers not writing their own music, paired with the fact that Drake was exposed for having writers just a year earlier, media outlets were quick to share the news that J. Cole had just took shots at Drake. This was pretty sloppy for J. Cole because around that time, if you said anything about someone not writing their shit, people would think you were talking about Drake. I personally always felt that the first verse was only written about Kanye, and Cole would later confirm this in an interview.
At one point in time, I put this dude on a major pedestal, and he ain't the only one that's been there. And there's one verse that applies to him for sure.
J. Cole would then drop his next project, which debuted at #1, For Your Eyes Only.
My fears alleviate, my tears evaporate, my faith don't deviate, ideas don't have a date.
However, coming into 2017, this is really when the conversations around the big three starts to kick off. At this point, Cole, Drake, and Kendrick are all solidified as generational titans. They all have their places in the game, and heavy speculation is ongoing about who's the best. It was around this time, 2017, 2018, where the big three phrase gets like attached to Drake, Cole, and Kendrick. It was on March 18th where Drake would come with something different, labeling his More Life project as a playlist.
I see man turn fool for the money one too many times.
I feel like there's always a time and a place for a little bit of blame.
I'm blamed for real, I might just say how I feel.
A little bit of passion fruit here and there.
You're just doing that to get even.
They're vibes, right? Like
That's
it's a time and a
different shit.
place, but I really fuck with this playlist. Not much correspondence goes on between Cole and Drake in 2017. J. Cole is now married with a new baby, and he puts out a documentary where it's clear he's in a very different place, and this is a quote from a Cole interview during that time. For so long, my mind state was, I had to show how much better than the next man I am through these bars. Who's the best? Let me prove it. It's like, damn, I'm really feeding into a cycle of keeping black people down. I'm really feeding into that. And I think it's quotes like this from J. Cole that confuses people, right? Because it was just a year later where he was saying shit like this.
Fucking with a nigga ain't standing in the box. Try to sneak this, then I'm picking up the Glock. I squeeze this, I be picking up the top.
J. Cole is extremely intelligent, but whoever interviews him next, when he does one, if they don't ask him specific questions about shit like this, they fucked up. Anyways, at the time, both MCs are touring separately. Cole goes on a 62-show tour, and Drake does the Boy Meets World tour, which had 43 shows. Then in 2018, Cole dropped KOD.
Wishing that I could blind myself from view and only have eyes for you.
With KOD, Cole broke Drake's 24-hour streaming record on Apple Music, and he was asked how Drake felt about it.
You beat Drake's views. Do you hear from Drake when something like this happens?
Yeah, he texts me. He says, "I hate you."
Following with the theme, if you haven't noticed, Drake and J. Cole have been pretty much dropping projects every single year around the same time since they came into this thing, and a month after KOD, Drake dropped Scorpion.
I wish you felt alright just hitting my line.
But it was
that
at
shit
this
was hard,
point
too.
where over 2 years had passed since we saw J. Cole and Drake in the same place. People were speculating that they were at odds, but they met up on New Year's.
Hey.
Hey,
Yo,
you know what I mean?
who would have thunk it, man?
Big money.
In the ghosty, man.
Terrible.
No Casper, man.
No Casper.
Here we are. We're both at the top of the game now, all these years later, and we're both here chilling in a ghost. Like that means something to him.
J. Cole would come out swinging in 2019 with the T-Minus produced banger, Middle Child, where he mentions Drake.
Put the rollie right back on my wrist. This watch came from Drizzy. He gave me a gift.
Now, did Drake give him a watch or not? I don't know. I can't confirm, but he probably did.
Back when the rap game was praying like this, to act like two legends cannot coexist.
So it's here where Cole is reminiscent about when he first came in and how he was being pressured to diss Drake. As young men, both MCs made statements many years ago that they felt like they could coexist just fine. At this point, a decade had passed, but things aren't really any different for them.
They're legends now, but when it comes to the fans and the media, they're still fighting the same fight.
And about a month later, Cole took to Twitter and shared a post saying, "So far gone, super classic, forever."
He's speaking facts. It influenced an entire upcoming era. Like, it's a generational tape.
At this point, the days of not doing features are over for J. Cole. The dude starts this run in 2019 that just keeps getting better. He smokes everything he touches. He's out rapping everyone. It's like he has this new hunger.
I know you shot a shot away when I think my man Kennedy tried to compare it to Wayne's run, but it's been a pretty phenomenal run.
Yeah, thank you, bro.
Of guest features.
I only say that because Wayne's shit was so classic to me.
And Drake couldn't let that Middle Child track go to waste. He made sure to bring out Cole in London, and the building went up. Again, when we look at where they came from, there's something poetic about hearing Cole's words of how two legends can't coexist while two of them share a stage, existing at the highest level possible.
Top 5, if not goddamn arguably the best rapper to ever come in this motherfucking game, hit after hit. I think of all my earliest memories, there's always one guy that was always right there doing the same thing as me, taking care of his people, showing love, and it's this man right here. He hasn't changed since the first day I met him. I said
So these niggas kind of grew together.
tonight in prayer, I'll say it tonight in front of 20,000 people, and I swear to God, all you keep doing is getting bigger and better, and I appreciate it. I can't wait to make some new music with you. I know we've been working.
And look, yes, it's very heartfelt, and some people might call it soft, but you got to keep in mind, just 11 days prior, we lost the late great Nipsey Hussle.
When you lose someone that you came up with, especially when they're that young, it hits different, right? Emotions are probably pretty high for them.
I believe they're at the point now where they want to give each other their flowers while they're still here, and they have no issues in doing it in a very big, loud way. It seems both Cole and Drake see a bigger picture than what the majority of the audience sees.
And they also know that the audience never understood what they were trying to do from the very start.
And it was at this point where it's summertime and Drake drops the Care Package album, which for me personally probably gets...
Man, and this another one, like y'all. So should it be views or Care Package first? Because y'all saying Care Package, y'all saying views. Man, I'm gonna just do both of them. Y'all ain't gonna know. You know what I'm saying?
Most plays of any other Drake project.
We talked about love and what life could really be for me. She said when it's real, you just know.
I gotta tell you guys, that Days in the East record, for me, that's a top 5 Drake record ever.
The Jodeci freestyle track from 2013 also appeared on this Care Package album, but this time they deleted the offensive portion of Cole's verse.
Cole would then drop his third Dreamville project.
Ooh, you know, can come through and get it right like this.
I feel like Cole's team is only getting stronger and stronger with every single project.
And I'm not
Cole
sure
new
if J.
shit
Cole's
sound like it's gonna be
mindset
hard.
influenced Drake at all, but he ends off the year with
y'all
compliments
know what I
from
mean.
both Cole and Kendrick.
Like, I have a lot of respect for you know, the other two guys that I'm constantly, you know, up against, which is like Cole and Kendrick.
Three-headed monster.
Yeah. So I have a lot of respect for those guys because they also continue to, you know, stay true to what we started with, and finding new ways to do it.
In 2020, J. Cole doesn't do that many features, but Drake definitely picked up the slack because this year he goes crazy with it.
If you're not running some top, we not gonna keep kicking it. Classics, I keep scribbling.
that shit
Lights in
dope,
the
too.
universal building, just keep flickering.
And Drake would keep dropping music as we get the Dark Lane demo tapes.
Register the business.
That's
in
another
my
one y'all
brother's
saying
name.
check out.
3,500 in a pocket, that should cover things.
However, J. Cole didn't stay quiet as he would also drop a little 2-pack EP, and the day that it released, Drake left a comment on his post saying, "This shit was ringing off this afternoon poolside. I had it early. Cole World." It's really dope because from the very beginning, what motivated them was seeing each other drop music, and that still hasn't changed. And even Rolling Stone would write an article referencing just...
Now imagine if the three of them was doing this, calling themselves the Big Three. Man, it'd be hard for the industry to even get through to these niggas.
how much Cole and Drake had in common. Drake and J. Cole are getting up there. At 33 and 35, respectively, the two titans have more in common now than they did during the decade they were critically and commercially pitted against one another. I feel like they always had lots in common. That's why they didn't end up beefing and became good friends in the first place. Heading into 2021, in March, Drake would drop Scary Hours 2, followed by Cole dropping the Off Season in May.
Angels shedding tears in heaven, word to Eric Clapton. Off this clever rapping, bitch, my pocket's gon' forever fatten.
J. Cole would then go to Africa to play basketball, and Drake proudly shared a photo on his Instagram story. Cole would then do an interview where he talks about competition with Drake and Kendrick and makes it clear that he truly values their friendships.
But as I gotten older, I realized that like no one is truly my peer or can relate to what I'm going through in life more than these people right here. You know what I mean? Because I'm more interested in the relationship because I also
see he was trying to keep that pot from brewing, dog. I see it now. J. Cole's the one in the middle, like, man, like, hey, we all kings, bro. We don't, man. Them two niggas didn't listen.
So see a time when I'm not doing this. That seems very realistic to me. You know, I don't want to be like
Drake, like, nigga, you ain't throwing no more shots at me, nigga. Let's fight.
Like, damn, we never kicked it. You know what I mean? Like, we never really even did nothing. So like, I'm at that point where it's like, I'm more interested in the genuine relationship.
So remember that old interview I showed you guys earlier where J. Cole admitted he wasn't ready to be close friends with Drake, saying that they had work to do and that they could build that bond later in life. Now it seems like Cole has reached this stage. He's seeing a bigger picture when it comes to the kind of relationship he wants to have with both Drake and Kendrick. J. Cole is only human, right? He's gonna make mistakes, but I think J. Cole has good intentions. I think he's a really good dude. And again, following with the theme, Cole dropped the Off Season, Drake would also drop an album that year.
Don't act like you wasn't praying for catastrophic collapses. Catalog is immaculate, still running the game. Don't ask me about the practice.
J. Cole would
Damn, I
then
still
drop
gotta
a
get to
track
that.
called
God
Heaven's
damn.
EP, where he spits over Drake's pipe down instrumental, referencing how the audience has put him in third place.
Say that I'm running third, they threw the bronze at me. Behind Drake and Dot, yeah, them niggas is superstars to me.
Now, while it's obvious
showing
what he
him
meant
love.
here, fans seem to paint this as J. Cole was admitting he was in third place and acted as if he was whining about it.
Behind Drake and Dot, yeah, them niggas is superstars to me. I had this verse where I talked about it. But on the song, what I'm saying, but people took that as like, man, he's saying he third. Like, Cole, you ain't third. Why you gonna say that? Like, just to clarify, like, I was not saying, I said they, meaning there's some people that threw. There's some people that throw the gold too.
It was obvious what he meant. I don't know how people got that mixed up. And
Trying
the
to start
day
some
that
shit.
track dropped, Drake took to Instagram to share a post promoting the new song. And it was just 3 days later where Cole brings out Drake on stage and Drake talks about this record.
You know, you did that pipe down freestyle the other day, right? You were saying in the freestyle about, you know, they handed you the bronze and whatever, me and Kendrick. I just want you to understand something. You are genuinely, without a doubt, one of the greatest rappers to ever touch a mic. It's way too many people in the world that think and know that J. Cole is at top on the pole position.
Go.
And what he just said, Drake means every bit of that. He does. Towards the end of the year, Drake was
That's
celebrating
dope.
his 35th birthday, and J. Cole made sure to pull up. And as we enter 2020, we find out that J. Cole is chasing a passion outside of hip-hop as he signed with a team in the Canadian Elite Basketball League. What's
Oh,
really
damn.
interesting about this is if it wasn't for Drake, Cole probably wouldn't be playing in this league. Drake's close friend Nico just so happened to be a part owner of a team in that league, and it was at Drake's 35th birthday party where Cole struck up the conversation highlighted in this article. Nico is a close friend of Drake's who's a co-founder of OVO. He also happens to be a part owner of the Shooting Stars. Cole and Nico met up at Drake's birthday party last year and started to talk about a potential opportunity, and the rest is history. Playing pro ball at the age of 37 years old, like that's really
crazy.
dope. It was during J. Cole's first official game. Drake watched remotely and made sure to share his brother's big debut.
Cash out, man.
However, watching remotely wasn't enough for Drake. He needed to show true support, as this time he was courtside for the next game while wearing Cole's jersey.
That's hard, bro.
And I heard a lot of people claim, especially lately, that J. Cole and Drake only have a business relationship and that it's all about money.
Nah, that ain't what that shit look like.
But this could not be further from the truth. Drake has no reason whatsoever to be at this basketball game. This is a passion project for Cole, and Drake knows how much it means to him, and that's why he's there. This is far beyond music, and I could guarantee J. Cole appreciates that he's there. And this is the summer where Drake really switched it up as he dropped Honestly Nevermind, a full-on house music project.
It's clear that we all get lonely, then you call me.
I really like this project, but I'm a music guy. I just can't do country. The album had mixed reviews, especially in the world of hip-hop. However, Cole seemed to really appreciate it as he shared 2 separate Instagram posts, with one saying, "Man, this album is phenomenal, point blank." And a fan also caught J. Cole outside listening to the album and snapped this photo.
Honestly, Nevermind had just came out, which was a phenomenal album to me. You know, the reaction, people got their reaction, whatever. I fucking love that album.
And on the album, Drake gave Cole a little shout out too.
Dread talking to you niggas like I'm J. Cole.
Shortly after the album dropped, J. Cole and Drake were coincidentally both in Turks and Caicos at the same time. This was an unplanned event, but they found out that they were both staying in villas right next to each other.
Took the family on vacation to Turks. It just so happens, I didn't realize, I didn't know who's in the crib right next to me in Turks is Drake. He's in the crib right next to me. I'm like, oh shit, yo, you out here?
And they would make use of the time on vacation, spending the day jet skiing and enjoying life. And these are probably the type of moments Cole was talking about in that interview. Hanging out way outside of music. Drake would then close out the year by doubling down with the music, dropping Her Loss with 21 Savage.
Niggas dumb as fuck. Imagine if I did that stupid shit when I was coming up.
It's also important to note that it was during this year where Cole goes on another crazy feature run, again, smoking everything that he takes part in. But the verse that I really need to highlight is the joint that he did with Benny the Butcher.
Now go and ask the best rappers that died. They tell you he never lied, nigga.
I don't think it's even the best feature that year. I think it's one of the best features of the last decade. And Cole would also give Drake another shout out on his feature with YG.
Cole think he Drizzy Drake, he got his own plane.
In 2023, J. Cole sat down with Bob Myers, and I wanted to highlight a specific portion of this interview, as I believe his words will assist in explaining things later on.
From a very young age, I become very good at problem solving, self-correcting, self-reflecting, self-adjusting, letting things go, you know, recognizing if I'm not letting something go, doing the proper work to let it go.
And I think what he's saying is important because I think it's true. I think he is a self-reflective dude that makes mistakes and corrects himself. J. Cole would then put together a loaded lineup for his 2023 Dreamville Fest
with both himself and Drake performing.
To see you do this shit at the highest level, non-stop, and constantly serve us and bless us with the fucking soundtrack to our lives, bro. I'm fucking blown away by your greatness, bro. Thank you, bro. Y'all make sure you're for Drizzy fucking Drake.
And Drake returned the favor.
J. Cole, if you can't tell, Raleigh, North Carolina, and myself, we love you, brother.
Again, some people might call this soft, not hip-hop, whatever the case may be. But these guys are at the point in their careers where they've been at the top of the game for so long. They have the platinum records, they have the plaques, they're richer than rich, they're on 40's doorstep, and they're very secure with where they stand in hip-hop and with what they've accomplished, so they have no issues giving each other some flowers. Then 2 months later in Montreal, Drake brings out Cole.
I want you to make some noise for my actual brother in real life. He goes by the name of Jermaine Cole. Make some motherfucking noise.
And it was during Drake's show in Charlotte where he teased the audience by claiming that him and Cole were working on something special.
I talked to him the other day. We're gonna put something real special together for Charlotte too.
And I guess that special thing was first-person shooter, because it's here where they drop it.
Will they ever give me flowers? Well, of course not. They don't wanna have that talk, cause it's a sore spot. They know the boy, the one they got a boycott.
When I show up, it's motion picture blockbuster, the goat with the golden pen, the top toucher.
It had been over a
that
decade
shit-
since Drake and J. Cole had recorded a track together, as the last song that we got was a Jodeci freestyle back in 2013. So this was a massive treat for hip-hop. And the very next night, they performed it in Toronto. And a lot of people felt that J. Cole smoked Drake as far as the rapping went on this track, and Cole had a good conversation with Yachty about this.
In that moment, he chose the song over the competition and what they gonna say, boom, boom, boom. And that takes like a level of egolessness. At some point in time, he gonna want his lick back. Like, oh, that's what y'all think? All right, bet.
Now, the first-person shooter feature for Drake was unbelievably J. Cole's first #1 record, and he talks about how it felt getting an alley-oop from Drake.
No, I didn't go number 2, it went number 1. But if it would have went number 2, it wouldn't have mattered. Like, I wouldn't have felt no way. If the other song would have went number 1, it's like, bro, I'm cool. I almost feel better not having my first #1 be off of Drake alley-oop. You know what I mean? Like, I love Drake, and I love that I'm a part of that moment with him with Michael Jackson, but it's like, bro,
Cole and Drake would then embark on a 29-show tour, and what's cool about this announcement was that they booked dates in much smaller cities, bringing it back to some of the venues they performed at when they first came in. J. Cole's manager said the following: "The reason behind this unconventional choice is simple. Drake and J. Cole want to pay tribute to the places where they started their careers and built their fan bases. This tour is for the markets they don't get to go to as much and do shows like how we used to." I like it. I think it's a really dope concept. The two would then roll out the first-person shooter video, which I believe is one of the best music videos in many years. They start off playing ping pong, firing shots back and forth, which likely symbolizes the competitive nature of their careers. This is a really dope visual, as they've been metaphorically playing ping pong since the beginning of their careers. Cole gets signed, Drake gets signed. Drake drops a tape, Cole drops a tape. Cole drops an album, Drake drops an album. And it's been that way the whole time. We then see them playing a game of chess, studying each other's moves, acting accordingly, just like they've done over the years with respect to their music.
But you always study what the rest of the game is doing. So if you see something that he's killing the game incredibly, like doing something that hasn't been done in a long time.
The scene then switches to their personal stats in a sports-like format. This likely plays off the consistent pressure felt from the fans and media, as the two have always been critically compared.
That shit was smart.
We then see Drake dressed as Spider-Man playing off the classic meme, and this is symbolic in the sense that they both perceive each other as being equal. Cole then hits a shot from long range to Drake's frustration. This is important because I believe it's meant to symbolize that they'll always remain competitive no matter what. After Cole's shot, Drake snatches the ball, and this is a dope visual because it demonstrates that Cole's greatness acts as motivation. Drake sees the amazing shot and is motivated to shoot further. His shot travels around the world a couple times, and this correlates to what Cole has been saying for a long time. Drake is a global phenomenon. Commercially, Cole knows he can't catch up with Drake, but he's still motivated by his greatness. That's my best interpretation of it, but I honestly think I'm pretty bang on with it. Drake would then drop Scary Hours 3, which gave us another collab with J. Cole.
It's high up in arenas where they see they faves, aka me and Drizzy Drake, we the wave.
But now,
hey, when they say Scary Hour 3, what album is that? Like, man, link it below. Is it on Spotify? Because when I pull up Scary Hour 3, it's just coming up with like 3 songs.
we head into 2024, and as you guys know, this is where things get dicey. It starts off overwhelmingly positive, as on January 28th, Drake would take to Instagram to wish Cole a happy birthday, saying the following: "More life, my brother. Thank you for the years of inspiration." Now, at this point, they're on tour together, so there's a lot of flowers going back and forth. The next night, the people would get to see Drake and J. Cole perform In the Morning for the first time in over a decade.
For the day ones in Tampa Bay, baby, you summertime, baby, you wintertime cold.
We then see a clip from the very next night where Drake is enjoying J. Cole's performance. There's just no jealousy between either one of them. It's just full-on support. I also found this really dope video that showcases the merch from the tour, and as you could see, they have a few designs with both of them on it. We might not get this again. I really wish I went to it. Drake then completely removes his ego from the scenario and claims that J. Cole's first-person shooter verse is the verse of the year. However, the good times were about to come to a crashing halt, as Kendrick Lamar would shock the world when the Like That record dropped.
Fuck sneak this and first person shooter. I hope they came with 3 switches. Motherfucker.
Oh, that's Like That. I'm tripping. I heard this shit. Okay, this is the one y'all had me listen to first.
Big 3. Nigga, it's just big me, nigga.
Yeah, here come this black nigga starting shit.
J. Cole would be the first to respond to Kendrick on a track titled 7 Minute Drill.
Your first shit was classic, your last shit was tragic. Your second shit put niggas to sleep, but they gassed it.
At this point, the internet had gone completely nuts. J. Cole had some lines discrediting Kendrick's catalog, and he was really feeling the heat from this in particular. That was definitely the part of it that pissed people off the most, for sure. However, it didn't take long for J. Cole to retract his comments towards Kendrick, as just 3 days later, he took to the stage during his Dreamville festival and issued an apology.
Dreamville, y'all love Kendrick Lamar, correct? As do I. So I just want to come up here and be like, publicly be like, that was the lamest, like, goofiest shit. And I say all that to say, it made me feel like 10 years ago when I was moving incorrectly. And I pray that God align me back up on my purpose and on my path.
The apology in itself was really something we've never seen in hip-hop before, but I believe, like what Cole said earlier, he reflected on his actions and he self-corrected. I believe J. Cole always intended on competing in a different way, and I found an interview from back in 2010 where he was asked the following: "Would you see yourself ever getting in a major level on-wax battle?" It depends. To me, it would have to be fun. And I'm not saying it would have to be a joke battle, but for me, it wouldn't.
Is J. Cole still with Jay-Z?
Be fun if it was really on some, I don't know, it depends on the situation. The idea of that is fun to me. He was very young here. This was the beginning of his career. So even at the very beginning of Cole's career, he never wanted to get into an extremely personal, scathing battle. It was never in his character to go on that type of attack. And that's exactly where this thing was headed. It appears that J. Cole felt engaging in this battle will be something great for the culture. I believe he thought it may have been similar to what he described many years ago. A way to go back and forth lyrically with some light shots while never crossing any sort of lines. But that's just not how rap beef usually works. It's obvious J. Cole had some intel about where this thing was going. Kendrick was ready for war, and so was Drake. This was not going to be fun. This was going to get serious, and knowing what we know now, I respect J. Cole's choice. Many of us were shocked with Cole's moves at the time, including myself. because I knew that Cole was more than capable of going toe-to-toe with either one of these guys. Cole's looking at this like, this is not why I got into.
I don't know, man. Shit. Them two niggas, they went to war. Shit, I don't know. I think J. Cole was like, I'm not doing that shit.
Fucking rap, like to get my kid exposed, my wife, my family, like you guys could take that. You take that part of hip hop. Now, with that being said, we need to look at it from Drake's perspective. Kendrick responded directly to first person shooter, and he feels like Cole should be taking his side. As you guys could see from the timeline I just showed you, this is more than understandable. Drake and J. Cole have been through a lot, they just came off a big tour, and their friendship transcends music. At this point, Drake was stabbed in the back by a couple people already, and he likely expected Cole to ride out with them. Cole's apology probably made Drake feel like he was abandoned. And from Drake's perspective, rightfully so. To complicate and mess with the optics of the situation even further, 5 days after the apology, a feature dropped from J. Cole with Drake's Ops, Future, and Metro.
For the action, with risk comes attraction. The blicks get the blast, and I turn into a track star.
And everyone thought this was Cole's way of addressing his apology, and they really thought that these lines were about how he ran away from the beef. But to me, this was just terrible timing. The chances of J. Cole being in the headspace to record a verse with Drake's Ops within days of his apology is slim to none. We also have footage of Cole from 2 months prior where he makes it clear that he was already working with Metro. It's an old verse. It had nothing to do with the beef. It's just very bad timing. However, as the beef rolled out, Drake ensured to let everyone know that...
Wait, I gotta see this shit. Drake push up. This actually explained. Yeah, I gotta see that.
That he was not happy with Cole's moves.
I don't care what Cole think, that dot shit was weak as fuck.
And it was at this point where I personally knew that Cole and Drake were now...
I don't care what Cole think, that shit was weak as fuck. Him apologizing like, nigga, what the fuck you apologizing for?
At odds. I believe after the apology, they may have spoke briefly, but this is likely where communication ended. I think Drake was legitimately hurt by what Cole did. Now, from Cole's perspective, he did what he needed to do as a man, and everyone was kicking his back in for doing that. This was quite literally the first time J. Cole felt this degree of turmoil in his entire career, and having Drake say things like this was like watching your friend dump salt into your wounds. I think what hurt Cole the most was the fact that as long as Drake has known him, Drake still couldn't understand why he made the choice that he did. And it was on Drake's Family Matters where he chose to double down.
And nigga Cole losing sleep on this, it ain't me.
At this point, the battle becomes intensely personal. Things are being said that stretch far beyond music. It got really ugly. But really what raised eyebrows was Cole's moves after the battle. On August 6th, Drake's Finsta account called Plot Twist would share a 2019 post from a fan that made fun of J. Cole from when he lost his phone. Remember when J. Cole got his phone stolen out of his pocket by a fan and they called Jay-Z from it, but he wasn't answering, so they called from their own phone and he picked up? And nearly 4 months after the battle had passed, J. Cole was featured on a track with A$AP Rocky, another one of Drake's Ops, where Rocky is clearly sending shots at Drake.
You a dead man walking like you barely alive. Cut everything but the family ties.
Again, the optics look terrible for J.
That nigga just in the wrong place at the wrong time. So when he said, I think on that one record where Drake was saying, she ain't even share your song where it's at, or some shit like that. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Cole, and even though the beef was now 4 months old, the world had not moved on, and this did not look good. A$AP is clearly dissing Drake, and now the world thinks Cole co-signed it. Now, it's impossible to know if J. Cole knew about the subject matter of Rocky's verse, as Cole could have recorded this a long time ago, but from Drake's perspective and everyone else's, this looks slimy.
Oh, Cole switched up.
Drake is shook.
Cole picked a side.
However, just a couple weeks later, J. Cole would drop another feature with one of Drake's alleged ops, Daylight.
Dangerous as the king of pop, how well they spin your block. No moves, minimal, smooth criminals. The whole gang doing insane amount of lean.
Now again, some months before, Daylight recorded a feature called Pie for J. Cole from his Might Delete Later project.
You know my zone, I live here at the top. Right now I'm home alone, Macaulay Cot, I keep the shotty cocked.
TDE Punch confirmed on Twitter that the Pie verse was recorded long before any beef. It's very common for rappers to exchange features as a form of payment. Daylight did a feature for Cole, so it's likely Cole is just returning the favor here. And look, while the timing does look crazy on some of these features, at the end of the day, these beefs are not J. Cole's to fight. Drake had static with half the industry, and by all accounts, J. Cole is a neutral party. Therefore, from his perspective, it's not fair for Drake or anyone else to put a cap on who he can work with. And I don't even think Drake cares if he does features with these artists. I just think it's an optics and a timing thing. It kind of made Drake look crazy. Now, with respect to Drake, after the beef, he continues to drop music, and it was during a party in Toronto where he shared a pretty sad message.
My real friends are definitely in the building. But I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna come to a point in life where people you thought were friends, or people you thought were close to you, they might switch up, they might try and move funny with you, they might stab you in the back, they might do a lot of things to you. You'll come to that realization, wherever you're at in life, you've probably been there and you'll be there again, that's how life is. But look, sometimes it's you and you alone by yourself. Sometimes it's you alone with your thoughts. Sometimes, you know what? Play the song, don't know.
And regardless of how anyone wants to paint this, I think it's pretty sad because a lot of the people that Drake trusted and helped along the way had completely flipped on him. We heard Drake talk about fake friends and rappers for a large part of his career, and even in 2010, he was saying things like this.
You know, for me, I'm a big, I search in life, I search for loyalty, you know, in my best friends, in women, in people in general, you know, that's what I'm after in life is just loyalty. So, I guess I figure if I give it out, you know, I hope to get it back.
And while I can't speak for how J. Cole perceived Drake's speech, all you gotta do is look at the timeline I just showed you guys of their friendship. I believe Drake's speech, coupled with the fact that the world had totally turned on him, influenced J. Cole's next move, as 5 days after that speech, Cole dropped his track, Port Antonio.
To start another war, hey Drake, you'll always be my nigga. I ain't ashamed to say you did a lot for me, my nigga.
So it's here where Cole makes a move that I truly believe
he knew Drake was feeling some type of way. That's why he wrote that song that verse right there like that.
Drake appreciated, as he clarifies to the entire world that he never picks sides, still respects Drake, and is also grateful for everything Drake has done for him. I think Cole really needed to do this, and he wanted to do this because everyone thought that he turned on Drake.
Fuck all the narratives. Tapping back into your magic pen is what's imperative.
Now, this is not a Port Antonio breakdown, but Cole goes on to offer some encouraging words to Drake. Essentially, he's reminding Drake of their roots and why they started this journey. Now, some people interpreted this track as Cole choosing sides and aligning himself with Drake, but that's not accurate. For the past 6 months, Kendrick had received nothing but praise, while Drake's name had been dragged through the mud. If that's all you pulled from that record is that Cole is siding with Drake, you literally missed the entire point of the record. As much as everyone is saying about J. Cole right now, I see his moves as highly commendable. The moment he was sucked into a situation that knocked him out of character, he self-corrected and apologized like a man. In J. Cole's eyes, if winning requires personal attacks against his peers to this magnitude, then there is no real winner. This beef has 3 perspectives, but in the case of J. Cole and Drake, I've shown you the depth of their friendship, which should give validity to Cole's approach on Port Antonio. I don't know the depth of the tension between Drake and Cole, but I believe their story is far bigger than this beef. As young men coming into the game, they were not set up to be friends. They were constantly baited to beef, and it was from that young age, on that fateful night at Radio City, where they made a choice that the industry didn't see coming.
But the Drake shit came up.
Club Paradise.
The moment is so important. Running them clubs, which is that boy Drizzy Drake.
And instead of becoming enemies, we become,
man, just let him have it.
Two great friends, and one of the strongest unions in hip-hop. And bless my city.
Who would have thunk it?
In a wine slow.
Ghosty.
Best rapper ever. Through the bronze in me.
One of the greatest rappers to ever.
I'm more scared.
He's a huge basketball fan.
Who's in the crib right next to me?
This man right here, bro.
Big as the Super Bowl.
I think them niggas can pair their friendship back together, man. Those records that was done, I don't think like they was done intentional, like he was getting on there for them to diss them. But even though like I kind of feel him like, you know, nigga, we brothers, like don't even get on the record like that when niggas dissing me. But shit, I don't know, man. They'll fix that shit, man. Don't forget to tap that button if you're new to the channel. Man, go ahead and subscribe. It don't cost you nothing. Abuse the comments, run the likes up. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. Peace.